Salutations Rangers, General Bradley 101 here, back at you again with some more lore. And in today's video, boys and girls, we're talking about something I really am hyped about. And that are the Thunder Warriors. But not the Thunder Warriors of the past, not what happened to them, or anything like that. No. We're talking about the secret Thunder Warriors, the secret army of Thunder Warriors to be more specifically. And what the hell are they up to in 40k? And moreover, when are they going to show themselves? But before we can be talking about the Thunder Warriors in 40k, we gotta talk about the Thunder Warriors in 30k. And answer what the hell exactly is a Thunder Warrior. The Thunder Warriors were the first legions of the Emperor, known as the Legio Contagious. They were created alongside the Custodes, Legio Custodes, during the Reunification Wars in M29 and M30, to help the Emperor reclaim Terra from the vile techno-barbarians which inhabited it. Whereas the Custodes were gene-crafted, alchemically perfectly made, molecule by molecule, bit by bit, by the Emperor's own hand, to be the perfect human beings. The Thunder Warriors were exactly that. They were warriors, soldiers. They were divided into 20 different legions, each headed by a Primarch. Fun fact, Primarch is a rank rather than a specific type of subrace of humanity. And the Primarchs of the Thunder Warriors did not share any genetic legacies with them, rather they were just simply the best of their legion. These 20 legions were essentially the proto-forms of the Legio Astartes, in every sense of the word, with each of them being numbered 1 through 20, and each legion holding the same sociality as their Astartes legion counterpart would later down the line, with an example of the 4th legion known as the Iron Lords, which specialized in siegecraft and siege ability. The Thunder Warriors were genetically augmented to become the strongest warriors of Terra. The Emperor specifically looked at the other gene-enhanced bio-augmented powered armored super soldiers, which were either the elites or in some cases, the standing armies, as in the case with the Albion. He saw these so-called super warriors and created his own, better, physically at least. For while the Thunder Warrior is physically superior and durably more superior than even the modern-day Primaris Marine, that comes at a grave cost. Biochemically, they are highly unstable. They lived terribly short lifespans, and either their own biology would combust, organs disintegrating, lungs melting, blood combusting, imploding, and they would be rendered into a vile mush, or they would implode mentally. The psychic conditioning of the Thunder Warriors was little to none, and this resulted in them having rampant cases of bouts of madness, going into a sort of pseudo-black rage. Not in any of the psychic aspects, mind you, but moreover in which they believed that they were fighting in past battles, and they were consumed in a bloodlust, and they would essentially fight themselves unto death, exhausting themselves until their own gene-enhanced bodies gave out. They were clad in the first mark of power armor of the Imperium, known as Mark I Thunder Armor. It was a semi-powered armor, meaning that only half of the suit, the top half, was actually powered, allowing the Thunder Warrior to move heavy objects and carry heavy weapons, but more specifically, engage in violent bouts of bloody melee. It was also non-void augmented, meaning that it had no respiratory system. This is clearly defined by the open-face helmet. The Thunder Warriors were armed with bolters, but they were known for their melee weapons. Due to their increased strength and their bloodlust, they were significantly more potent in melee, and given the barbaric and terrible fighting of the Reunification Wars, melee was more often than not the preferred choice, if not the only. The Thunder Warriors alongside the Legio Contagious and the Old 100 would continue to serve admirably throughout the entirety of the Reunification Wars, with the final Thunder Warrior giving their lives to plant the banner of unity upon Mount Ararat, giving the last drop of blood to claim the last bit of soil for the Emperor of mankind, the Lord of Lightning. However, this is a lie. In reality, the last few Thunder Warriors were culled by the Legio Custodes under the order of the Emperor of Mankind. And whilst few did manage to escape this culling, they were far in number, with the largest group numbering anywhere between 20 to 30, and they were all destroyed by the Warhounds, the Proto-Wild Eaters. However, it is must said that the Thunder Warriors reaped a bloody toll for their adversaries, claiming 5 to 1 in a kill-to-death ratio, and violent and bloody deaths were they. And thus did the tale of the Thunder Warriors end. Or did it? You see, whilst I did say that there were a few Thunder Warriors who did survive, one of them happened to be very unique. That was the chap known as Arik Tarnis. He was one of the first ever Thunder Warriors ever created by the Emperor, but moreover, he was one of their greatest. It's unknown if he was a Primarch, but it is considered that he is at least to be of a high captain rank. He was one of the few who were able to survive the Battle of Mount Ararat and escape into the underhives of the Imperium, specifically the underhives of Terra, and it was here that he would continue to survive and learn more. He would eventually become the criminal warlord known as Babu Dakal. He was essentially the lord of the entirety of the criminal syndicate under Terra, and was pursued relentlessly by Imperial authorities, though it's unknown whether this was because of his criminal activity or the fact that they knew that he was a Thunder Warrior. But Arik was different from other Thunder Warriors. He was much more learned and much more mentally stable. More specifically, it is said that he was able to learn gene alchemy directly from the Emperor in some fashion. How this came across or what happened to it, we don't really know. But the fact of the matter is, he knew about gene alchemy. He knew about himself. And eventually he would discover that the Emperor had not betrayed them at Mount Aurat, but rather from the very beginning. The Emperor had purposely genetically augmented the Thunder Warriors to have incredibly violent and short lifespans. They were a tool to be used. Nothing more, and nothing less. Arik, however, did not despair at this. In fact, he sort of understood that a lot of his brothers were violent beyond all rational belief. What you need to understand is that the Thunder Warriors were recruited from the Techno-Barbarians, the conquered peoples. They were beyond unstable, physically, genetically, and mentally. Terra had been engulfed in 5,000 years worth of war, creating a culture of death, violence, and unrestraint. The people bred from there were nothing if not warriors, but of course the Emperor didn't help with that. However, while Arik didn't hold any grudges against the Emperor, that didn't mean that he agreed with him. Arik would work tirelessly, using his power and influence and wealth as a criminal warlord to build his own gene labs, in an attempt to stop the genetic degradation of his fellows, and perhaps even begin recreating them. And whilst he would have some success in creating new Thunder Warriors, or rather developing the means to create them, it's unknown if he did create any of them, but we'll get to that later, he was missing one key of the puzzle. That was, how does he stop the deterioration? He could extend it, and he could change it, he could mold it, lessen its effects, but he couldn't quite completely end it. There was one piece of the puzzle that he was missing. He would search for that piece for as long as he could, but it would be during the heresy when that piece would find him. There was a warband of traitor marines known as the Outcast Dead, a mixture of Thousand Sons, World Eaters, Emperor's Children, Death Guard, and Lunar Wolf. There was approximately 7 of them in total. It would be outside the Temple of Woe that Tarnus would encounter them. The Temple of Woe was within the slums of the Petitioner's City, part of the Underhive of Terror. The Outcast Dead, who had recently escaped their imprisonment, were then cornered by an Imperial hunter team. Tarnus and his lieutenant, a fellow Thunder Warrior, would watch as the two would slaughter each other, before Tarnus and his men would descend upon the two forces, before briefly using this distraction to escape. However, one of the things that Tarnus was able to secure was the progenoid glands of the fallen Astartes. The progenoid glands turns out to be the key organs. What separated the Astartes from the Thunder Warriors was the gene seed. Now, some people believe, yes, of course, it's maintained from the Primarchs, that being the demigod sons of the Emperor, but more specifically, it's what they did. These progenoid glands turned out to be the key that halted the genetic destabilization. It was able to calm down the genes to relax them, but more specifically, it allowed all the other effects of the Astartes possible. More so, this Tarnus was able to stop his own genetic degradation, but the key aspect was that he was able to reproduce it, stopping his lieutenant's degradation as well. And we know for a fact he's able to clone the progenoid glands, and he's able to clone the genetic makeup of a Thunder Warrior, and he can integrate it into Thunder Warriors, with himself and his lieutenant as living proof. So, what did he do? Alright, as always, that was all the concrete lore, that's all that we know. Everything from here on out is me putting 2 to 2 together and see, does it equal 4, or does it equal fish? Let's see what we got, folks. So after that whole rigmarole of all that nonsense of lore and canons, because I have to give that to you because I am a good lore master and a good lore YouTuber, and that's part of the course. So, there we go. But now, onto the spicy bit. We have this chap, Mr. Arkic, right? He made all the good stuff. And more specifically, he recreated the Thunder Warriors, but stable Thunder Warriors, essentially a hybrid of Astartes and Thunder Warriors. All the pros of one, all the pros of the other, and apparently none of the cons. And he specifically stated that their whereabouts after the heresy are unknown. We don't know what happened to them, probably because someone at GW forgot to write their ending. But that gives me the excuse to take 2 and 2 together and make that son of a bitch look like 4, even if it's 2 salmon fillets and I'm just swishing them together, making some type of weird fucked up baked salmon. We know that space marines can indeed live thousands of years, even without the boundaries of chaos. Now granted, they're more likely to live a couple hundred, but they can live a long bloody time. And that's because of their gene seeds. The progenoid gland is a gene seed. So, technically, Thunder Warriors could live at least hundreds of years. My theory is that Mr. Arik took all his knowledge and his power and went somewhere either further underground under Terra or off-world. And he decided to build up the Thunder Warriors again. The Thunder Warriors were an incredibly martial culture. They were warriors, even more so than the Space Marines, because whereas a Space Marine was supposed to be more than a warrior, Bobby G said it perfectly himself, they're meant to be administrators, part of a stable environment. The Thunder Warriors were only warriors. And in a sort of ironic twist of fate, no Thunder Warrior betrayed the Emperor, even though the Emperor betrayed the Thunder Warriors. Yet it would be his perfect soldiers, the Legio Astartes. It would be they who would betray him and ultimately kill him. It's a terrible and cruel irony that is befitting of Warhammer 40k. So the Thunder Warriors always wanted a warrior's death, but a warrior's life. They wanted to be an army. In fact, we hear this sentiment of them adoring their warrior honor, more specifically their Legion honor. There is a group of Thunder Warriors who act as gladiators underneath Terra, and one of them clearly states in a bout of rage and fury to respect the Thunder Legion, whereas his handler, his Dominus, would reply, "You haven't been a Legion since Mount Arat." To that, he simply offers another threat. Despite everything that happened, the Thunder Warriors remember their Legion. There's even another example of a Thunder Warrior sometime after the heresy fighting underneath the sewers of Terra. When a giant beast is fighting the Legio Custodes, it manages to overpower him, but the Thunder Warrior draws his gladius and charges forward, saving the Thunder Warrior's life at the cost of his own, screaming for unity. The Thunder Warriors would definitely restore their Legion, if they had the chance, purely for the sake of a martial prowess. And knowing how the Emperor was about them, they'd definitely be secretive and hide away. And given since the Emperor fell, and the Custodes and only a few Chaos Space Marines know truly what the Thunder Warriors are, well, who's going to take their time to run off and chase wild tales? It is my personal belief that there is indeed an army of Thunder Warriors out there. If not an army of Thunder Warriors, perhaps even a society. Now the question is, what are they doing? Well, I got a few theories for you. Theory number one, and kind of a little bit odd, they decided to live a peaceful life. They created their own kingdom somewhere off, somewhere far away, and they decided to carry on bearing the banner of the lightning and the raptor, for they are the Legion of Unity, the Legion of Thunder. And even though their Lord of Lightning may have betrayed them, their ideals still stand. That is the least likely of options because it's Warhammer 40k, not Peacehammer 20k. My second theory is that the Thunder Warriors are preparing in wait. They're preparing their Legion and their forces, lying in wait to overthrow the Imperium. They're lying in wait, waiting for the perfect chance to truly restore unity. As we all know, the Emperor's vision during the Great Crusade is certainly not what it is now in the modern 40k. Bobby G and the Lion and everyone, even the Chaos Space Marines, know that that is not it. We know that the Thunder Warriors, even after everything the Emperor did to them, still value unity more than anything else. So, what if they saw the chaos, literally, engulfing the galaxy? What if they saw that Space Marines, those who were supposed to be their better, turned out to be worse than them, not only physically, but even in their own goal? They were supposed to be less strong for the benefit of being more stable and understanding and less chaotic. But lo and behold, half of them turned traitor and they killed the Emperor. They destroyed unity. Thunder Warriors do not like Space Marines. Not one bit. Not because they replace them, but because they view them as unworthy. They view them as unhuman, they view them as flawed, they view them as weak. Now, seeing everything that happened, and seeing the pride of a Thunder Warrior, it's not that much of a stretch for me to say that they would want a bit of the action. They'd want to throw a punch or two now. So we have a Thunder Warriors Legion, at least one, in wait, preparing and ready, to arise from the ashes and restore unity. But the question is how and why? The Thunder Warriors could never restore unity, because they were just warriors. They were not administrators, nor were they kings, they knew that. They were soldiers and instrument, but they needed someone to wield them. Now, who would want to change the Imperium and who would need a legion of warriors? None other than maybe the King in Yellow. Now, there's a lot of contention in the King in Yellow. Some people think he's Constantine Valdor, when some people think that he's not, and so we don't know what he wants to do. Some say that he is just an agent of chaos and he wants to destroy the Imperium. Some say he is a contingency plan of the old Emperor. Because remember, the Emperor of 30k is different from the Emperor of 40k. But my theory is this. What if he turns out to be Constantine Valdor? But he doesn't want to destroy the Imperium. No. He wants to restore the Imperium to what the Emperor wanted to be. That being the old society of ancient terror. The old golden age of technology. And to do so, to bring about true unity, what better, who better than the legions of the Thunder Warriors? Think about it. Constantine Valdor was said to have slayed Ushotan, that being the greatest Primarch of the Thunder Warriors. And when he slayed them, he was incredibly sad. He said that the Emperor had nothing left to take. either from him or the Thunder Warriors, because they had given them all. He agreed with Ushotan, he did not like the Primaris. Ushotan and Valdor were friends. Valdor did what he had to do, not because he wanted to kill Ushotan, because the Emperor ordered it. He was a duty, nothing more. He didn't want to do it in the slightest bit. Now, if we take Constantine Valdor, who is the King in Yellow, if he is, that be. Also, important definition, I don't think he's the King in Yellow if he wants to destroy the Imperium or turn into chaos. That just doesn't make any sense. He could just be a fake using Constantine Valdor's name. But if he does want to change the Imperium, then I really do think that it could be Valdor. Because again, Valdor and the Custodes are loyal to 30k Emperor, not 40k Emperor. Keep that in mind. What if Valdor takes the Thunder Warriors, a new legion created by Arik, but this time different. They're still warriors, but they're more stable. Not as stable as the Space Marines, but they're a pure warrior caste. Together with Valdor and his allegiances, his contingents, the King in Yellow will arise. He will take the Emperor from the Golden Throne and place him into the City of Dust. From there, the Emperor will be changed. Either he will become a brand new god, and a new Emperor will arise in his place, or maybe Valdor wants to use all that warp magic to change him back, either by backtracking time, taking 30k Emperor, putting him in 40k, or doing something. And the new Emperor will stand about his will. Again, big Imperium Civil War, because there are those who follow the God Emperor, and there are those who follow the Emperor of mankind. And the Thunder Warriors would be the first at the head of this new fight. From there, the Emperor, the true Emperor of mankind, not the God Emperor, would come to rule over the Imperium in some manner. How fucked up the Imperium will be depends on how bad the war is, but given how Thunder Warriors are significantly stronger than Space Marines, and I'm pretty sure that Guilliman and the Lion will join 30k Emperor rather than 40k Emperor, I don't think it's going to be that long of a fight. From there, the Thunder Warriors would become something different. They wouldn't be Thunder Warriors per se, but they wouldn't be Space Marines. They'd be a hybrid, something like a Thunder Marine, or a Lightning Soldier, one might say. But they'd be something new for a new age. But now that we talked about how, I think it's time that we talk about why. Why on God's good green earth did I come up with this crackpot theory? Why, oh why, did I scour the depths of the internet and reading countless books, finding obscure exoscripts to be like, hey, this makes sense. Why did I put so much time and effort into this? Short answer, I love the Thunder Warriors. They are really cool. They are actually human, unlike the Astartes, and the Emperor did them fucking dirty. I want them back in 40k. Long answer, I want Thunder Warriors back in 40k, but it's a want, not a need. Now, I'm going to pose the question to all of you. Should the Thunder Warriors come back? In any example, should they come back at the behest of the King of Yellow, the new Legion reincarnated, or should they just be another faction in 40k? Something different, something new, a remnant of old Knight. The past sins of the Emperor come to haunt him, and it's up to his sons to deal with the sins of the father. Is Guilliman going to have to convince the Thunder Warriors to join the Imperium? The fact that he is indeed good, that he is a son of the Emperor? Would the Thunder Warriors follow the son of the Emperor? Or would they decry them as the scions of the Marines who betrayed the Emperor, who destroyed their dream of unity? What would they do? How would they act? Should they come back at all, or should they stay dead? Should they just be a relic in the bygones? Should there be at least one Thunder Warrior? Should they be a faction? Should there be a few? What should it be? And that brings up an even broader question. Should we pluck at strings? In my recent videos, I've been doing a lot of theory crafting, because it's fun and it's generally more entertaining content than me spouting out lore. But should we do that? GW has a terrible habit of leaving plots unfinished, stories without endings and questions without answers. Normally, it can be rather fun, but when it becomes 50% of all the material they post, it gets kind of annoying. And it's sort of become a established canon in Warhammer to make theories. And theories eventually become canon, or fanon, rather, and GW just left there. In essence, we fans tend to shoot ourselves in the foot. We build up and hype this cool, awesome plot thread, and we expect so much when in reality GW just forgot to finish it, or the ending was never going to be that grand in the first place. In the end, it begs the question, should we think about this? Should we do this? Or should we just accept that when GW says they remained without trace, they were lost in the wind, that it's the closing of it, that GW will never come back to it, and that we should never expect anything? There's a saying that goes as such: the lower your expectations, the harder it is to disappoint you. Which is true, but at the same time I disagree with that. If you never reach for anything, you will never grasp anything. I am of the opinion that we should have these weird theories, that we should gather around with friends on YouTube and simply just talk and be like, hey, what if the Thunder Warriors came back? What would a Mark II Thunder Warrior look like? Would they have their own gene seed? Would they be a weird hybrid? What would they be like? What was the Thunder Warriors like anyway? How was that? it creates discussion and it creates this feeling of camaraderie and family, and we get excited because we're talking about stuff, and yeah, it's probably never going to happen, but that's the point of 40k. I'm not coming out here and saying this is the brand new law. I'm saying, hey, this is my weird thought that I got after reading a couple books. What do you guys think? And getting around and talking with people and saying that's so cool and talking about all that, that's part of the beauty of Warhammer 40k. I can think of nothing better than rolling some dice with the boys, having a cold one, and talking about crackpot theories, or you watch your Space Marine squad get absolutely wiped by squads of guardmen because your boy rolled all 6s and you rolled all 1s on your save. Am I bitter? A little bit. But that is the beauty of theory crafting, that is the beauty of 40k. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I urge you, think about the Thunder Warriors, and let me know, what do you guys think? Do you guys think the Thunder Warriors should come back? Do you guys think the Thunder Warriors should stay as there is? Do you think that they should be brought back in some form of 40k, or should they stay in 30k where they belong? But other than that, I want to say a massive thank you for you to watching, and I want to say a massive thank you to my supporters, my lovely members. Shout out to my 2 Lieutenant tier members, Mr. Eddie V3 and Miss Majora of the Void. Shout out to my Sergeant tier members, Mr. Damick and Mr. Andy McGee. And a big shout out to my 2 private tier members, Mr. Ivan_SVW and Mr. Thomas Moslons. Thank you guys all so much for your support. It means the bloody world to me. You really don't know how much it means that you guys have this much faith in me. But moreover, those of you who just watch, it means the absolute world to me. I appreciate each and every one of you, and you guys make this dream a possibility and a reality. Watching, liking, and commenting, especially the commenting, it means the world. I do read pretty much every comment and try to respond as many. If not with the actual comment, with a heart at least. But I love each and every one of you. So if you want to support, sign up to the memberships. You get access to these videos a full day early, some awesome benefits. You get to talk to your boy. You get a special member role in the Discord, exclusive access to some exclusive Discords, all that wonderful stuff. But remember, you don't gotta do it. This will always be free, and I will always love you no matter what. Mwah! Yes, I will. But ladies and gentlemen, I've been the General Bradley 101. You've been beautiful, awesome, and amazing people. Make sure to stay loyal there, boys and girls. And I will catch y'all next time. Dismiss, Rangers! Okay, ignore everything I said in the past video. I just want Thunder Warriors back. Give me like modern Thunder Warrior minis. I will.